Hey, what's going on, folks? Check it out. 3 nights in a row. What is happening here? It's like, I be honest with you, I haven't left this desk. I've stayed here for 3 straight days. Right? No bathing, nothing. Food delivery.
What's the most believable part about that?
All right, so tonight we got something a little. We've not done this. I mean, we've done reviews and we've talked about games, but this one's going to be a little different. Okay, it's July. All right, we all know what happens in July of 1863. Probably the most talked about battle of the American Civil War. All right,
Vicksburg.
So we're going to talk about 27 games of Vicksburg that McMurray played in the last 24 hours. Now, we're going to talk about Gettysburg. So if you check the channel out over the last probably week and a half, we've posted
coming up on 2, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. We've posted 4, but 2. Okay, so McMurray has been just knocking the bottom out of Gettysburg games. All right, and he's played. Now we all know McMurray. He likes to play stuff that he can get it done in a day or two, and he's extremely aggressive. So he really gets through these games. So he's played 4 games, and I like to call them 2 light and 2 medium. But that means okay.
Introductory is certainly the nicest way to put it. And then, like most things, you've got introductory, and then you've got really introductory, and then introductory like, okay, so you haven't played Gettysburg before, or okay, you haven't played ACW before. You know what I mean? So that whole kind of span of introductory.
Well, right. And if you come to watch me play a Gettysburg game, there's probably 2 on this list that I would touch. So we're going to talk about these 4 games he's played and what his opinion was. And hopefully Todd and I will brew up some questions about this stuff. And you guys in the audience, if you got some questions or you have some input, we would love to hear it. Let's say hello to who we got on. We got Nord, we got Mutt, we got Chuck. Chuck, good evening. Jeff Anderson, Stack and Limit. The limit is here. So we're going to get this started. I think what we're going to do is let me flip my camera over real quick. And we're going to have, let's see, let me change mine.
We got the Warmut on here. We'll have to get him on here to talk about all of his Hex Encounter games he's playing now.
Yeah, he's got a boatload of them. I'll leave it right there.
Tim, what's up, E4?
E4, there's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
Germantown on the way. It's wrong war, Mini. That's cool, though. It's cool.
Walt, how you doing, buddy?
You should have gotten the little round top.
Jerry Todd, what's up, sir?
Tim Z. Hey, Ulan. What's up, Jerry? Okay. These are now there's 5 on this list, but one of them's a miniatures thing. I can't figure out how to delete that stuff off of here. So, no, I wouldn't do that to him. So, he played Gettysburg from the C3I magazine, and we said that was a Mark Herman game, right? He's played the decision game Cemetery Hill, which was originally from the SPI Blue and Gray 1. So this would be Blue and Gray 1 from Decision Games. He played Cross 5 Aprils Gettysburg, which I think is a marvelous game and a marvelous system. And he played the intermediate game of Gettysburg 77, which I know if you get a chance to watch the full videos, when I take Andrew's videos and put them on there, he'll send me 3 or 4 of them and I'll merge them together. And you can see when you hear confusion in his voice, you know the game had some intriguing stuff in it.
You talking about Gettysburg 77?
Yeah, it baffled you a little bit. So
it was a little.
I think what we're going to do is let's start with C3I. All right, and because I figured that'll take us all to 30 seconds to talk about.
It certainly doesn't take too long.
All right, I'm going to pull it up here at Game Board.
So real quick, is this the same system that Waterloo game is based on?
I believe it is. At least it's out of the same magazine. I'm not sure if it's the same system.
Okay. Hey, Joseph, thanks for popping over. Oh, yeah, thanks all.
Yeah, all right, Andrew, go ahead and give us your rundown. I know he made some notes, so he's gonna throw some stuff at us here.
So here I did have this was a Union victory for me. The individual counters here for the Union are core. And then for the Confederacy, you basically have divisions, right? So each of your 3 corps have 2 divisions. There's not a lot on here. Then there's a Meade and a Lee counter that are kind of just, I guess it's an element of command because you have to kind of operate within a certain bubble of them.
I like the map.
It is a pretty map. Contour.
It is. I think it's the Warren map, or at least it has that feel to it. The map is good. I like it. Nothing here is detailed. The counters aren't detailed. The map is the most detailed thing that you see. Everything's pretty simple. The one weird thing that one of the weird things that stuck out to me was there's a Berdan's sharpshooter.
Separate unit.
Yeah. And it's not even a unit. It just like it just exerts a ZOC. It doesn't really fight. It's just it was weird. It was one of those why is this the focus? We need to put this in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting.
There he is.
Of all the things to make slightly more complicated, that didn't seem like one of those ones that was like, yeah, this makes sense. This should be what we have.
What was his purpose? Because I don't see a strength marker on it or strength number.
There is, and it's not for combat. It basically just you pull it on and off the table, and it essentially just blocks.
Kind of harasses.
Yeah, so it prevents movement and, in my case, retreats.
Okay. Does the Confederates have something similar?
No.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
No. But the other thing that's kind of unique about it that makes it more than just almost checkers, you do have artillery support, but it's not. It's you just have a counter that's I want artillery support or I don't want artillery support, and you have an artillery support strength track down at the bottom there.
Okay. So I got you. You burn points.
Yeah, but you're supposed to not know what the other guy does, which makes it a little hard to solo for that aspect. It kind of ruins that. Basically, I looked at it and thought, okay, does this side probably going to want artillery support? Yeah, no. And so then I would chuck their counters into my MMP cup and I'd shake it up, dump it out on the table, and then that was the process I did with it because it was one of those,
Okay.
I don't know, which is by no means perfect, but
that is small.
Oh yeah, it's tiny.
Is it okay?
It is 2 sheets of paper.
I guess I'm curious does it feel like Gettysburg at all?
I mean, if you've never played, if you are not a Gettysburg person, no.
Me?
No. It could be the Battle of Fismes for all you care.
Themes.
Whatever. Theme yourself. The point is, not really. Not really.
Okay.
Which, on one hand, means that
it's too bad.
you can, well, kind of, except for that at the same time, I don't think this is a game that you're going to pick up and play because you want to play Gettysburg. If you're already a gamer, you know what I mean? You're going to pick this game up if you've never played a game.
A war game.
Well, okay. All right. So that leads into Todd's question, leads me into this. So if somebody that's never played Gettysburg, which is probably not going to matter, if a new Civil War gamer that's never played a Gettysburg game puts this on a table and plays it, is that person going to be able to walk away from this table thinking, oh, now I know stuff about Gettysburg?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So again, it's not that everything here is Gettysburg, right? It's not like you're attacking Breed's Hill. You're going to see names. You're going to see places. Absolutely. Is there anything that makes it feel particularly ACW? No, it's zoomed up to the core level. Of course you aren't.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, maybe I phrased that poorly. You certainly are going to you're going to know names, you're going to know places. It's just not necessarily anything uniquely, oh, well, this is obviously Gettysburg. It is when you look at it. It is when you look at, oh, there's Dan Sickles. He's going to save the day. Okay, this is Gettysburg.
Okay. Well, then here's a way to ask it. Because, this is me. I know Gettysburg, but that's it. I know that there's Gettysburg, but I don't really understand it. And so I'm looking for, oh, dang, that's a lot of games. So I'm looking for easier, right? Because I know I could jump into GBACW, but I don't want that kind of detail in this.
Yes.
But what makes it a Gettysburg? What makes a Gettysburg game for you, or do you want to answer that later?
I mean, it's being in that setting, right? It's seeing me, Lee, some of the other familiar names, familiar faces, and then maybe using the fish hook, maybe not, but pouring in over the ridges, fighting ridge to ridge, and then getting after it. So again, the nice thing about this game, and the reason that I'm not just going to pass this game off to somebody, is because it has the visual appeal and the lack of complexity to grab a Euro gamer or a miniatures gamer that looks at Hex Encounter stuff usually and might have bought a Hex Encounter game because the front looked cool, which all the time, and tried to get their teeth into it and went, what did I just do? That was a terrible idea.
Didn't you say that terrain didn't had any effect in this game?
That's the Gettysburg 77.
Okay.
Might. I don't remember. I didn't put that into my notes here.
Well, were there any? Okay. So we know you, and that because you're a nighttime person, that you'll play one of these games overnight in one night.
This is an hour or two. Okay.
But so now this makes my question a little more valid. An hour or two game, did this game have any mechanics that were unique?
Again, I feel like the artillery system would have been a lot more fun with two people. Again, the British sharpshooter thing was unique. It just might not have been, if I was going to tack something on to try and make this feel, oh, this is Gettysburg-y, it probably wouldn't have been British sharpshooters.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, my point is, you're absolutely getting a game that it's small footprint and simple and fast to play, but at the same time, I liked this a lot more than the Gettysburg 77 basic game.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Fun, but that game was 100% terrain does not affect anything, which is one of those. Then what's the point? Like the whole idea at Gettysburg is you're fighting on ridges and then hills.
Okay.
Without that, who gives a shit? So I mean, I preferred it to that. This is, like I said, there's a spectrum of introductory games, right? This is an introduction to Gettysburg as well as an introduction to wargaming in a Hex Encounter sense, right?
Well, okay, so so the weight, obviously, of the game, the play weight of the game is obviously minimal, but they're saying the complexity rating is a 5.
What?
And when I looked, now granted, I've not seen it, I've not played it. Tom,
I wonder if that's out of this system.
No, the complexity is usually, I thought, overall. Wait, who said that, Jeff?
Well, I'm just looking at BGG here.
Is that what C3I said?
No, it says right there 2.06 out of 5.
Yeah, the weight. Okay, that's okay. So wait a minute, hold on. Then what's the
that makes more sense.
Complexity rating for how difficult a game is to understand. Lower rating, lighter means. So it's a 2.06 out of 5. That's okay. So that's still mid.
Yeah, but this is right because OSG's Library Napoleonics is like a 2.56 or 2.46.
Okay.
I feel like that also might be slightly more complicated than it needs to be. I feel like on BGG you have a lot of Euro gamers. This game got a lot of traction as an intro to historical wargaming.
Right.
Through it being a magazine game that then was successful enough to get put out as a boxed game as well, but then also with Little Wars TV, their whole thing. This game was hard as shit to find for a long time because Little Wars TV did their video review of it. And so I feel like that number might be slightly inflated because it's semi probably being ranked more than a lot of other games by people who aren't usually standard members of the historical Hex and counter wargaming community. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
So it might seem a little more complicated than you or I would think it is, because I would certainly not put it that high.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it's like a 1, but
but if your next door neighbor decided they wanted to learn how to play a Civil War Hex and counter game and they've never touched one ever before, would you put this on the table in front of them?
How much do I like my neighbor?
Okay.
No, I mean, if it's a neighbor that I wouldn't mind seeing a few times over the course of, a week or so, I might put on Blue and the Gray or Cross 5 Aprils. But if it's just somebody like I have, like we said, an evening,
right,
by all means, I'd put this on the table. Yeah.
Okay.
Then that's why I grabbed it, because I knew it wasn't going to be, it wasn't going to blow my hair back.
Right.
But yeah,
okay,
so
cool.
Again, it's for that introduction of introductions. It's a good option. And honestly, I need to play the Waterloo game before I give it to Todd, so I can see if it is the same system. Because if it is, then this all of a sudden becomes a really good introductory series for people. You know what I mean? Like Brian. So, okay, well, if you like this C3I game, go try this other one. It'll use the same system. You know what I mean? I don't know if it is. So that's entirely speculation. Maybe somebody in the comments knows. I certainly do not.
All right. So on the McMurray gaming scale of 1 to 10, what's this one for you?
This game, 1 to 10.
Uh-oh.
This is probably a 3-band Enfield musket.
Okay.
Maybe a second one. It's certainly good. It gets the job done. Really easy, really simple.
Right.
And it'll certainly work, and you can hand it to that new guy, and he'll be able to figure it out in not much time.
All right. All right. Before we go to the next one, Todd, why don't you catch up on the comments we got you there?
So Warmut did say it sounded like a good game for him. I think we would agree with that. Mike Hal's on here. Hey, boss, cool stuff. Jerry Todd, we got him. Nordic E4. Ulan, I think the subject will return G77. Then E4 was telling me that I need to get the Gettysburg Companion by Mark Adkin. I looked it up. It's $90. It does look good, but I'll probably hold off on that. Let's see here. Who are the Ulan and Mark Herman? Jeff Anderson, BGG rates complexity different than GMT or Wargamer would. Yep, that's 100% correct. But I think it is a nice comparison because I feel like it does a pretty decent job of. I know it doesn't do a lot of things great, but it does do. Because when McMurray uses that to look at games, and I think they've been pretty representative of games you've liked.
So a game that's rated like that one, 2.06, and then you have another game that says it's rated like 3.01. That's actually a drastic gap, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the weird thing, right? Because this is 2.06, but there's some SCS games that are like 2.3 or 4, and that seems like a bigger gap.
Yeah,
but again, I think that's also what we were talking about, though, is that nobody gets into the hobby with SCS unless they're a weirdo like me.
Right. Yeah, I think it seems to fit that realm. Yeah.
How many pages do you remember were in the rule book?
Not many.
Okay.
Jeff Anderson says Waterloo is more campaign. They have detachment counters in addition to the combat units. So,
all right.
Yeah, and Nordic would rather not play something that abstract. But so it sounds like it would be a fun one for a couple people who, are just kind of want to do something, and it says Gettysburg. It's
kind of like that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily it's not a Gettysburg game for Gettysburg people.
Right.
Yep.
So all right. So Todd, does that seem like a scope of a game that you would play?
Well, yes. Yes, I think it does, but I think I want maybe a little bit more meat.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit.
And for boy howdy, I got more meat for you, Toddy.
And I'm on with Nordic,
buddy.
I'm on with Nordic Maelstrom, and I'm not going to touch it. It's just not.
Again, it's not designed for people like Jeff or Nord or honestly even necessarily Toddy and I.
But
aside from as a pleasant evening's distraction.
There you go.
before Secret Wrestling Camp.
There you go.
Oh shoot!
After Secret Wrestling Camp.
All right.
To
Let's
cool
move
down.
on to the second one on the list here, and we're going to go to one of the not necessarily that particular module, but in the late 70s, early 80s, or whenever it's been so long, the Blue and Gray series from SPI. And I made the comment over on the Ardwos channel tonight that these games were fast and fun. They weren't terrible Swift Sword, but nonetheless, they were kind of fun to play. And that's the Blue and the Gray system. Now, you played the Decision Games one.
I did.
Let me pull that one up.
Which before, and I already know, I can see the comments streaming in already. This game sucks. It
Okay,
certainly
well, you know
isn't Gettysburg.
Give us your thing.
What have you? I'm going to preface this entire conversation with
Yuck.
we are historical wargaming, right? We are wargaming.
Right.
By definition, we are not looking for the exact historical result, because if we were, we wouldn't be rolling dice. We would just be moving counters around and talking to ourselves. Okay? I'm not saying that this is the greatest game ever. I'm not saying you need to go buy this game. My point is, it's not just it. It gets I thought this game was going to absolutely suck because I read BGG.
Right.
Like, I thought I was going to hate this game. I thought I was going to throw this game, say this game is dumb. I don't like it. Get it out of here. Which was weird because I played Bull Run and I really enjoyed it. But holy smoly, the internet hates this game, man. BGG hates this game. YouTube commenters hate this game. Honestly, it was a fun game to play. It had some different mechanics that were quite fun and kind of gave you an interesting taste for the Civil War that you don't necessarily get that does make the Civil War in that really kind of specific narrow period entertaining. So here I did again have a Union victory. One thing that did frustrate me here, but is not super duper surprising, is that there's not a QRS or like many play aids for this game.
Right.
Not a huge deal. I'm dumb and was playing with the map folded in half.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't have the full terrain effects chart and stuff. But anyways, that's what I get for trying to save space on my table.
You bought this one as a folio, right? Did you buy the quad?
I bought the quad.
Okay, so he bought the Decision Games version. So
yes,
there's a
SPI
Decision
version.
Games map, and here's the old SPI Blue and Gray.
Okay.
And I have the SPI version, and I will be playing the SPI version. Actually, I take that back. I have the TSR/SPI version, and I will be playing that. And I am about to have the original SPI flat pack quad version, and I'll play that too. And I'll be the first one to come on here and eat crow and say, man, that game sucked, if they truly do blow it out of the water that badly.
Well, and there's your difference of count from Decision Games to SPI.
So yes, with SPI, apparently Jeff was telling me that there were no backs to counters. Counters were destroyed and counters were destroyed. That was the end of it. One of the things I kind of liked about this game was, instead of destroyed, when you flip the counter, you have essentially the same stats, but they're yellow. You can't attack at all, but you can still defend at relatively full strength, what have you.
Interesting.
I thought that was kind of cool, pretty accurately reflected the fact that you can absolutely have blown troops after an attack, that especially in the Civil War, when so much advantage is given to the defense just by nature of the combat. I thought that was a cool mechanic, because then your troops don't flip back to attack capable until the next day. Like, you have to have a full nighttime
So they could flip back over.
They do. At the end of the day.
Okay. It's like straggler recovery.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's one of the things that I've seen in miniatures games before. Altar of Freedom does a very good job of that. When you're commanding huge formations, it's hard to smash up an entire, brigade or division or whatever. Like, will they run off? Absolutely. Are they going to be okay after they get a hot meal and some rest? Maybe not tip top, but they'll certainly be okay to fight again. So that was an interesting mechanic that I really liked out of this game.
Who won this one?
This was another Union victory. In this game, and you can watch the video, we kind of formed a north and south, right? The Confederacy was trapped on the north, side of Gettysburg. So they held, the north end of Seminary, and where Seminary Ridge and McPherson's Ridge come together. And then all the way kind of across where Ewell's Corps comes down. What is that? The Hagerstown Road up top there, Jeff? No, not Hagerstown. Harrisburg Road?
You got Harrisburg, Hunterstown, Carlisle.
Coming down
Road in Hunterstown and Hagerstown are going to the north and northeast.
Yeah, so you're getting the north. The board, instead of being at Fishhook, was split because AP Hill managed to force his way across. What is that, Rock Creek there?
Rock Creek, yeah. And then what's the other major one on the other side?
I don't know. Nobody ever gets over there. But anyways,
where did this game start? Because I'm looking at those little markers on the map right there. Did this game start with those units in those positions?
Yes, there are units on the field. So this is not
into the first day already.
Yes, so this is not a start at 5 a.m. on June the 1st game.
This is more like 1 p.m. because I see early on the map.
Ish. Like, we aren't quite back into, like, Ewell's troops aren't necessarily getting there already on the table. But yeah, so it's not a, which I'm okay with, because I got really tired of having to play like 2 or 3 turns where there's 2 counters fighting.
Right.
And then people just rushing forwards.
Marsh Creek, that's what Ulan. He knows that. That's for sure.
But yeah, so that didn't really bother me. But yes, you're right, Nord. That's one regiment. But yes, correct.
Walt says he didn't find the game so bad. Walt, you talking about the Decision Games version or the SPI or?
Yeah, I would assume he's talking about the Decision Games version, because everybody has to wipe their chin off after talking about the SPI version. I enjoyed it, Walt. I agree with you. Let me see what else I have here. So the first 2 days were kind of a back and forth. I thought the Union was set up to do really, really well on the second day, and then I wound up getting attacker retreat results, which I'm sorry. So that's one of those things about the ineffective thing. If you're the defender and you retreat, you're not disordered like that. It's only if you have an attacker retreat result. So you attacked, you got beaten back, and then you're not attacking for the rest of the day.
Right.
So if you want to, if you're defending, you take a step back, then you counterattack. You could do that. I'm sorry. So I needed to say that earlier, but so then on the second, I had the Union kind of set up for a big counteroffensive, kind of up Seminary Ridge, going north on Seminary Ridge, and it didn't happen. Granted, they still defended just fine, so the Confederates weren't able to do a whole lot, but because of that, I felt pretty safe as the Confederates, and I tried to send almost a whole division around to grab Culp's Hill, which wound up getting surrounded and beat up pretty bad.
Yeah, there's not many pictures here that I can show on this.
That's fine. At this point in time, I feel like somebody, if they're listening, has probably either is familiar enough with Gettysburg or has pulled up a map, because we're just talking nonstop. But then on the morning of June the 3rd,
July 3rd.
Sorry, that's the one. The Union was able to really come out swinging really hard. Wound up being a Union pretty strong, decisive victory in the end. I have you written only 2-1 on strength point loss, which I think means that in order to inflict strength point loss, let's see here. What the hell was I talking about on that one? Yeah, in order to get an eliminated result for the attacker, you have to be attacking at a 1-2, and as the defender, in order to force to get a result of an elimination on a CRT, you have to be attacking at a 3-1.
Okay.
So it was weird. You guys know me. I like games that I can kill stuff on.
Yeah.
That was one of those. Come on, let me kill stuff. But still, I liked that game. I had a good time playing that game. That was fun.
Okay. Unique mechanic.
Unique mechanic is definitely that flip to where you are not attack capable, but you can still defend.
All right.
I liked that a lot.
And on the McMurray 1 to 10 scale?
This thing is probably getting apples by the bushel and fine Pennsylvania flapjacks. We're definitely ticking up. I think it's held up very, very well for its age. Again, I'm talking about how it's a fun game, because the minute you roll that die the first time, you're not looking for historical accuracy anymore. You're gaming.
And would you
That's
recommend
what
this?
Fantasy, pointing at the grumpuses.
And would you recommend this to a novice player?
I would, especially because you can get Blue and the Gray 1 and the Blue and the Gray 2 boxes and have 9 different scenarios to play.
Awesome. All right. Let's move on to number 3, which I'm going to save the other one.
Let's go to Gettysburg 78 or 77.
No, I'm saving that one for last.
Oh, okay. Then we're just going in normal order.
We're going to go to Across 5 Aprils, the Gettysburg game, which I love this system. Anything?
Agreed.
Right.
I could not agree more.
Great system.
This system is one of those systems that makes me very, very sad that it's not being produced anymore and that there will not be any more games in this system in this series.
I guess you need to make them.
I don't know who holds the patent for Victory Game stuff. Like, who has the rights to this?
What are those 2 maps they're showing there, Jeff?
That was a comparison. It looked like the one.
It's just another game. Okay, I got you. I just wondered it was a different module. So explain. Wait a minute. So this is Battle Hymn. Is Battle Hymn Across 5 Aprils?
No. They're just. I think somebody is doing a comparison here.
Oh, so that I thought. What is Battle Hymn coming from?
Compass Games, isn't it?
No, what's its lineage for? Because it's a
crap. I can't remember now.
I'll look it up. Go ahead.
All right.
So
someone will tell us here.
This game.
Charles likes it.
Oh, that was the other thing.
Okay.
Blue and the Gray has mandatory attacks. Forgot about that. Blue and the Gray has mandatory attacks. You can really monkey around with that and you can play heck with your opponent with that.
So, Walt, are you saying that A5A is what Compass is redoing? Sort of?
That's what E4 said. And they said something to Smith. That's what I thought.
Interesting.
Whoa.
I thought that's what the Battle Hymn stuff was based on.
Wow.
Oh, man. Okay.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay. So Across 5 Aprils. You guys know I love this game. You guys know I love this.
I love it so much.
This box is outstanding. Interestingly enough, it shares 3 games between Across 5 Aprils and the first Blue and the Gray box set. Each one has Bull Run, Shiloh, and Gettysburg.
Damn, everything in here is the Battle Hymn stuff.
the fact that this was the third game that I played the exact same engagement on, this was still fun. That's a big testament.
That's why.
In across 5 Aprils, I did have a narrow Union victory on day one.
There you go. Matt Davidson says that Battle Hymn is a Cross 5 April's updated system, and I just saw that on Board Game Geek.
That's badass. That makes me very happy, and I hope they don't just update these 5 engagements, but I hope they actually branch out and do some other stuff. This.
Now, I don't remember your game looking like this.
Are they on? Yeah, it didn't. It didn't. I don't think, aside from, I think during my C3I game, I was relatively fish hooky at one point, maybe. That being said, that whole game is only 6 turns long, so I only recorded one video, and it was end of play.
This game was only 6 turns?
No.
C3I was, right, okay.
But, yeah. This game is fantastic. I really enjoyed playing this game. I had a good time playing this game. Like, I had a very good time playing this game.
Oh, jeez.
So I started out, like I said, this was a Union win on July 1st, on the evening of July 1st. That being said, and I think I even might have pointed this out in the video that I recorded for you, was I'm not sure I'd call this a Union victory as much as a spoiled Confederate attack. Right? Like, this is certainly one of those Heath commits, and without the first day going as well as it did traditionally for the Confederates, the Confederacy goes, yeah, Robert E. Lee goes, well, the men might be demoralized because we aren't fighting here, but we're not going to keep doing this. The Buford and the First Corps managed to hold on to that north end of McPherson and Seminary Ridge for a long time. Man, you can tell this is a game that was made. When was this game made?
92.
Is it really?
Or no, so yeah, 92. Yeah.
Yeah, 92. Holy smokes. I thought it was older than that. But anyways, man, the writers of this game were part of that Shelby Foote generation, what have you. They think that 11th Corps is absolute dong water. And again, I think we talked about this just a little bit. I don't remember when. I don't know if it was live or not. But I feel bad for 11th Corps. So get a bad rap. They got shafted with assignments. There is not a corps in the Union Army, or maybe even 2 corps in the Union Army, that could have held the open area, relatively open area, not entirely, relatively open area north of Gettysburg against Ewell's Corps rolling in.
Yeah.
That's absolute insanity.
And they had no choice because Reynolds made the decision that he was going to hold at Seminary Ridge.
Yep. And then Ollie Howard's like, well, and his entire corps had just eaten the biggest shit sandwich, ever prepared at Chancellorsville.
Right.
Which, again, you can't really blame him entirely for. Like, the entire time, all of his units were saying, hey, yo, that guy Jackson, yeah, he's over there. Like, we could see him. And everybody's like, ah, ha, ha, silly Dutchman. No one cares about you. And it's even, you can find that in reading, accounts of First Corps, and that's what everybody points at, right? Is First Corps, and then some guys out of Second Corps who are all just mad shit talking 11th Corps, like, oh, the Dutchman didn't stand at all. Like, shut up. Call him 11th Corps, or else everything you're saying is just, yeah, you don't like German immigrants. We already knew that much. But anyways, 11th Corps got smashed up pretty good. But they did a decent job, and for the most part kept, did about as well as you could expect, but they did a pretty good job. my plan for day 2 was to kind of link up along that north end of Seminary Ridge and and McPherson's Ridge. I can't remember what the hill there is. There's a big hill that's always controlled by the Confederacy at the north end of that ridge. But Oak Hill? Yeah, I knew that. I'm dumb. I'm sorry. The Union are never going to hold Oak Hill because they're just going to be constantly getting smacked. That forms a big old salient between Hill and Ewell, and that's never going to happen. And then eventually Longstreet coming in. But holding a little bit and holding on those heights means that as the Confederacy might try and advance between those two ridges, it's real easy for because that's the only place they can get real good combat odds is in those one or two open hexes there, because it's not a big valley there. It makes it pretty easy for Union defenders to smash them up pretty good. So at some point it just becomes, so you can actually see that right in the foreground here, can't you?
Yeah. Oak Hill's, I can't show, but Oak Hill is right there.
Yeah, exactly. So as you get Confederate units trying to sit in that valley or come down that valley, because that's really the only place for them to attack with anything even approaching okay odds until they clear Seminary Ridge. Well, it makes it real easy.
And also too, now, so we already know that because Reynolds made the decision and Doubleday followed up with it to stay on Seminary Ridge and fight, because it was good terrain. If you ever go there, you'll see that Howard had no choice but to move forward. Now, we've talked about this before, where Howard's 3 divisions sort of came up within good time frame of each other, and he had originally kept one back on Cemetery Hill and sent the other 2 forward. But then
I was about to say he had at least 2 brigades on Cemetery Hill.
Yeah. But now there's also the story, which, by the way, you asked me a question today, and I got it wrong. Slocum and Sedgwick. Slocum had the 12th Corps. Sedgwick had the 6th. Now,
I got you.
There was a story about Slocum returning the favor to Howard of not responding fast enough, like Howard did to him in a previous fight.
Yes, I'm not sure anyone's ever going to have that resolved, but 11th Corps was certainly they were the what's the guy's name in Lord of the Flies, Piggy, that just nobody gives a shit about, like, you're here but we don't really like you, we're not going to help you out if we don't need to, you're just here to be here.
Piggy.
So there's that. This game actually looks a fair amount like mine, where you've got Union troops still on the ridges, and then it's a north to south fight. But anyway,
here's a question in Ulan. I want to see if Ulan can answer this. So I've always wondered why somebody didn't put an alternate arrival for Slocum in this game. Ulan, do you have it in your Gettysburg game? Where he pushes it. He pushes the 12th Corps. Because, the 12th Corps actually, on the other side of the creek there, they actually had somebody that crossed and was, in reality, headed in the direction of Early's left flank, but then they got returned. See, he does have that rule in there, so that would be cool. So,
what's your Civil War game? Or your Gettysburg game?
He's the one that does the Ulan, the last full measure games, the free ones.
Jesus, I knew that. Yeah. Sorry, my apologies.
Stormed. And I played. That was one of the first games I played. I was looking at that today. So I think that would be interesting, because they would have come in on that flank, which Ewell's whole, one of the, you read Lee's lieutenants, one of Ewell's roadblocks for making that decision to take East Cemetery Hill was because he was alerted that there were Union forces out to the east.
Accurate. Also, he had force marched his guys all day and then fought all day. Like, Ewell takes a bunch of shit thanks to whatever that actor's name is in Gettysburg.
Trimble.
Yeah, but I mean the actor does a good job of playing. I know that it's General Trimble. Does a good job of playing General Trimble. If you had given me a regiment of troops, I would have taken that. Yeah. No, you wouldn't have. You would have lost a regiment. You probably would have lost a brigade. But
all right, so let's get back to what was the, and I'm not going to say unique, because this one had a lot of mechanics in it. What was the most interesting mechanic in this game?
I do like, so Across 5 Aprils is a chit pull system for movement, right? So when you pull a Corps chit, they move. They do not combat. They move.
Okay.
And then inside of that chit pull mug, which has 1 chit for every Union Corps and 2 chits for every Confederate Corps. The Confederates only on turn 15 does Longstreet get to move twice. They can hold movement, essentially, is what it is, which is an interesting, like, oh, look at how fucking Superman Confederate generals were and not Union generals. But anyways.
Matt Davidson says that holding Culp's Hill is crucial in this game.
It is. I've had that happen before, and it is hard to take. Wooded hills are hard to take in this game. Hard. They got a 2 left shift, which is rough. Interestingly enough, fighting in Gettysburg, 1 shift to the right. It favors the attacker. But the chit pull system in with all of those chits is 1 Confederate combat and 1 Union combat chit. And when you draw that combat chit, you attack.
Okay.
Period. Everything. You attack. And then it adds an interesting level of, I don't get to plan everything how I want it. Sometimes you just got to attack. It makes it more difficult than in other games to set up these grand, sweeping, meticulous, perfect attacks where everything's just ready and then you step off. Which is I like friction. I think this is an interesting way to do it. It adds a certain level of, like, it's not a game within a game, but you're conscious of that. You're conscious of, has that core gone yet? And it gives you a little bit to think about other than just, oh, I just want to do this, right? You got to think about what's coming more so than in a just, okay, now it's the Confederate turn. Move all your stuff, do all your combats, then I'll come back into the room.
Where did your game end in this one?
My game ended, again, basically the Confederacy wasn't able to get the gains and the traction that they got historically. And so on the evening of July 1st, Lee just said, nah, we're not doing this.
I see blue stars on that map. Are those victory locations?
Those are Union victory locations. Okay. So those only count for the Union. The Confederacy has...
At what point? At the end of the day, each day?
Not day 1.
Okay.
Day 1, it's purely casualties. And the Confederates, to end on day 1, have to inflict 1.5 times the casualties the Union does. The Union just have to inflict more than the Confederates. Okay. Which kind of goes... Again, I think I might have been talking to Todd or you, either way. This is just a weird... The victory condition makes it seem more like you're in the mindset looking at a victory of Grant than you are necessarily Meade, right? Because for the Union, it's just one of those, well, I killed more of them, they killed more, or I killed more of them than they managed to kill with me.
Well, and I also,
that's all I have to do.
When Meade arrived on the field, or just reading some papers and stuff, Meade, even though that he created the pipe stem creek plan or whatever, the pipe creek plan, when he arrived on the field, I mean, his first thoughts were, where do we attack? Can we attack, and where do we attack? He did not want to sit there and wait. He wanted, because he knew that he had the numbers coming up, and he wanted to attack, and then that was completely, I guess, washed out. I don't know the whole details on that, but okay. So, on your 1 to 10 scale for this game, what do you give it?
This is a Dan the Man.
Okay. Then that's an 11.
This is my favorite of the 4.
Okay. Would you give this game to not a new player, but maybe a young player?
If it's a new player, again, this is where I asked you, how much do I like my neighbor? Right. I would gladly play this as a first game. Probably play Pea Ridge first, but this I would gladly play with somebody who is almost brand new to Hex Encounter gaming. If it's somebody that I wanted to hang out with and play with for a week or so, or for 4, 5, 6, 7 sessions of a couple hours each.
Is there enough meat and detail for me? Like, is that the right amount?
Yes.
Do you think?
Yes, I think you would enjoy this. I think you would have a good time playing this Gettysburg game. I think that there's enough detail in the counters that you get a good accounting beyond just, beyond just corps and division commanders.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you what I see when I look at this game, and granted, I've played A5A, played 2 or 3 of the games in there. And I place it with a game that's being made today. Granted, because of the minimalistic numbers of informational type counters, there really aren't that many. Blind Swords comes to my mind.
And that's good because I'm about to play Blind Swords and I hate informational counters.
All right, so that's 3 of the 4 that Andrew has played.
Hold on.
All of y'all out there in the crowd, how many of y'all have this system? Go ahead, Todd.
Oh, yeah, I think you kind of answered most of the stuff being said here, and thanks everybody for piping in. I am curious. Does one get? Well, I can always just play your game, McMurray. But does one get look for a Cross 5 Aprils, or does one just try to find that Compass game? I wonder. That's more for the crowd here because you've never played.
I'm curious now myself because I did not tie the 2 together.
Neither have I, but I'm certainly going to look at Battle Hymn, especially if they release other games. I hope they keep the rules pretty. Again, you can tell when you're playing it, it's not a new game.
Right.
But it certainly handles that difference. It ages a lot better than the next one.
Well, I've passed on the Battle Hymn games. As a matter of fact, I think even Kev from Big Board, he and I were talking about because he had them. Now I'm tempted to go find them. So
I'll tell you right now. There's only one. The other one's still, I think, in production. Sometime I don't know.
What's
Gettysburg and Pea Ridge come together, so that's a 1 box.
Yeah, and then it's Bentonville and
Compass Game is also doing
Bentonville and Shiloh.
They're doing a GBACW type of game on Bull Run, and I'm waiting for that one. So, all right. Anyhow, Cross 5 Aprils, great game. Love the system. It's been a while since I played it, but I know it's good. Now,
Ulan says the system was changed in Battle Hymn. Sorry,
but I don't want it.
All right, so Cross 5 Aprils in maybe.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So now we're going to move on to what I'm going to call the coup de grace.
Here we go.
Of this sort of type of.
But you already said it's his favorite.
And it's, I don't know. I mean, there's Civil War games out there that have progressive sets of rules and stuff, but I think this one was unique. We're going to talk about Gettysburg 77 because Andrew just played the medium rule set. I've played the medium rule set. He played the base rule set, which I think he laughed so hard that he just flipped the game over and moved on to the medium rule set. But before we start talking about what you played in this, I want to address this basic rule set thing. Could the basic rule set in this game teach a never gamer how to play Hex Encounter games?
Yes.
Because it involves what? Movement, combat.
Yep.
Okay. And not a whole lot of other detail you got to think about.
Correct.
All right. So,
and it's not a bad game. I said I'd rather play the C3I version with somebody than this, and I stand by that. That's not to say that this is a bad game by any means.
All right. So you played the intermediate. Have at it.
Intermediate. One thing that was very different, I usually, like I said, try and keep Buford and if possible Reynolds and as much of First Corps dug in like ticks on the north end of the ridges at the seminary and if on McPherson's Ridge if I can. Not happening here. Nope. Turns here are 1 hour.
Oh, wow.
And you move and you fight. And then if you still have enemies in your ZOC, you fight again until you decide you don't want to fight anymore. So this game, you can get a lot of killing done very quickly. So
Interesting map.
It's a gorgeous game for its
the
age.
map is beautiful. It's weird. It's a little wacky. It's not necessarily the easiest to read, but it is gorgeous. I really like this map. I wish
Nordic.
some of the type was a little easier to understand.
Real quick, is this the same but updated version of that Gettysburg game with the
Squares
with the cannon on the front?
Yes,
That was in 1950 something or whatever.
correct.
Probably 60 something. Okay, thanks. You played that one too, didn't you?
I have not played that one.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I
they had
almost
one
bought it.
Bird.
I did.
I think the first one started in 58 or 59.
I think 65 was when it was released in hexes instead of squares.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But yes, beautiful map. Again,
Wow.
some of the writing is a little hard to read, like on the roads. But other than that, it's fantastic. That's awesome that somebody did that.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. There's minimal stuff on the map in terms of geographical information and victory, game information, because there are 3 games in the box. Other than that, here our counters are brigades. Again, not bad. I had a good time playing it. Like I said, this was probably one of the closest to historical results that I got, except as the course of July 1st ran on, Robert E. Lee was able to just run roughshod. In this game, by the time 8 p.m. on the 1st happened, Gettysburg had fallen in the mid-afternoon. The Confederacy took Culp's Hill in the evening, and as the sun was going down, they took Seminary Hill. Reynolds was killed. That already happened. We knew that. Hancock got killed. Howard got killed, and then Slocum got killed trying to shore everything up.
Good Lord.
Wow.
No one wants Andrew as their general. Trust me.
Yeah. So there's 14 turns there, right? So you can just keep attacking and attacking and killing and attacking. There aren't any terrain effects on movement. Whatever, man. That was a very rapid departure from Across 5 Aprils because terrain can play a big effect, which is interesting because in Across 5 Aprils you move at about the same speed, but you have not drastically less turns, but I think maybe 8 turns instead of 14 on the first day. And you attack once. This is a different sort of game. Not a bad game. One cool thing about this game is that on its CRT, there is a 4-3 and a 3-2 column. So you've got a 1 to 1.5 and a 1.5 to 1 column, which is pretty cool. I like that. Basically, the only troops I had remaining at the end of July 1st for the Union was 3rd Corps.
That's funny.
And then a brigade or 2 out of 1st and 2nd Corps that were kind of holding the north end of Cemetery Ridge. So all of you angry anti-Sickles people, Sickles stuck on Cemetery Ridge and held the line on Cemetery Ridge. A little different, like drastically different, but yeah, anyways. And that was not me trying to make Dan Sickles seem like a hero. He was just the guy marching up Cemetery Ridge or up the Emmitsburg Road, at 5, 6 o'clock in the evening on the 1st. So he was the guy that was there. But yeah, like I said, even with entrenchments, Cemetery Hill fell, Culp's Hill fell. It wound up being victory points of USA was 48, which is only Confederate casualties. And then the Confederacy had 98, which I think is different than in the video, but wound up with 98 victory points, which doubled the Union. Basically, Robert E. Lee continues to have another, Chancellorsville, Fredericksburg experience here.
That's Ulan's map right there. He did this. He modified this.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cool.
I like it.
So real quick, sorry to interrupt. What is the game Ulan's working on?
He was working on the Peninsula. Ulan, you still working on the Peninsula? But he's got about 9 or 10 games in his system.
Oh, is he? Is he the print and play?
Yeah, print and play or Vassal.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Thanks.
Jeffy, maybe we ought to play one of these on Vassal.
Well, and I told him that I was playing one of his games. And I need to play with because there were like 2 versions, and I need to get back to. I need to do that, and I think it may be a Vassal thing is what I need to do. But I have 2 of his games fully printed, maps and the counters completely made.
Okay.
So.
All right, cool.
But yeah, this I would be the first one to admit that part of my struggle with this game might have been that I was playing the 4th Gettysburg game in 2 weeks. Immediately after playing a Gettysburg game 2 nights beforehand.
So starting a little burnout on the campaign?
Maybe a little bit, but there wasn't, like Jeff said, you could hear it in my voice as I was doing it. It was just a way to, okay, hold on, I got to figure this out. It seems like this intermediate game is probably somewhere close to what the 1965 version was. But if I had to guess, just looking at the rule books and everything else, a lot of work went into the advanced system in these rules.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to picture. Just looking at this shot right here. This is obviously the intermediate game, and now I'm trying to picture. I know the numbers on the backs of these counters. Some of these numbers have strengths of like 20 and 24. And in the advanced game, you put these extenders on there, and each extender, if you don't put a counter on it, covers 8 strength points. So now I'm trying to picture this one brigade, maybe from Pender, sitting here and having 24 strength points and being stretched across 3, which would make sense to me, and actually could even be even more with all the regiments.
I'm about to say, aren't there regimental counters in the advanced game?
No, you use the brigade counters with the line extenders.
Okay. I have no idea what the hell that means, and I never intend to find out.
There you go. There's your extenders.
But, Jesus, that looks terrifying. But no, so that, I don't know. It seemed like there was just some minor stuff that, especially by this time, Avalon Hill knew how to do. You guys know I am a big fan of old Avalon Hill games. Huge fan. But it seems like they might have tried cramming more into this box. Like, obviously, the beginner game is so simple. So simple, so easy. You have like 3 pages of rules right at the start of the book. You have an order of arrival and a CRT on a single sheet, and there you go.
Where are these counters at, Ulan? Where can I get my hands on these? These are his regiment counters for this game.
Probably, what's the place that prints like the Blitzkrieg counters and whatnot?
Well, no, he's got them. I'm just wondering where he made those. I'm wondering where I can get them.
You're thinking of Camelot Games.
There you go. But this game was fun.
So, are you ready? You kind of told us, but what's the rank of the games in order? 4 to number 1.
Again, I feel bad having the C3I one in here, to be honest with you, because the other 3 of these are kind of far closer in terms of grit and whatnot.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that I would have an order to them.
Well, okay.
Across 5 Aprils is my favorite.
And tell me real quick why that is again.
Because each of them does, honest to God, have its own strengths. Like, there's not... Across 5 Aprils is my favorite. I like that game. I like how it plays. I like the chit draw. I like the rules, even though even with the Cross of Aprils, there's a little bit of frustration with the rules. You have 2 separate rule books you have to look at. You got to have the system rules, which I like, and then also you have scenario-specific rules in a different book, which, whatever, that's fine. It's weird. It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because on one hand, it's like just put them in the same damn book. But then at the same time, having them separate means you can have the main rule book open to something and the scenario-specific rules open to something. But I don't have enough room on my table to have the main rule book open for something. So it just kind of gets – it's – anyways.
Yeah.
Across 5 Aprils is my favorite out of these, which might also be slightly tainted because I like the fact that there's other games in the system. Blue and the Gray was a fun game to play.
Yeah, I think we're seeing here a mismatch on the weight there. It's a 3.67. That must be for the advanced game.
Yes.
I mean, so that's kind of a bummer that's on there because it's like no one, like from what I hear, no one plays that.
Correct. That's the thing, right? The advanced or the introductory game for Gettysburg, this Gettysburg, might actually be lighter than C3I. Yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me.
But again, that's why I feel like that C3I is kind of in a bad spot. I mean, you can buy any of these 4 games and have a great time playing them. None of these are Mid-War Sicily. None of these are games that pissed me off and I hated playing so much that I just recorded it so that I could get the damn game done with and off my table.
Right. Okay. Cool.
I prefer Across 5 Aprils. I like the fact that Blue and the Gray, once you learn how to play it, you can play any of these 4 games. Or if you get Blue and the Gray 2 from Decision, instead of having Antietam, they've got first and second Bull Run or something like that. I don't know, but my point is then you can get 5 games in the second pack, I think, which is pretty slick. So my point is, with that system being understood, you can play 8 or 9 separate games. Gettysburg 77 is it's a classic. I enjoyed playing it. The map's beautiful. The counters are simple to understand. They're a little hard to read because they're old counters. You got the standard. I didn't realize I was back on camera. You have the standard small print type stuff. But yeah, I do. Where is it? I do, for everybody who's angry, right here have the TSR Decision or the TSR SPI Blue and the Gray. So we'll be playing that. Yeah. But Edward Kern, that's who you guys can all get angry about.
Well, the only thing that TSR would have done was change the map.
Maybe so. I have no idea.
They may not have done that in those. So
I have no idea.
They did Terrible Swift Sword. They changed the Terrible Swift Sword original map to the pink, green, and which doesn't bother me. A lot of people don't like it, but it doesn't bother me.
But that is here. I will play that. Like I said, I'll also have a copy of the flat packs, the original SPI flat pack here in not too long that I can compare it to. You're like I said, you're not going to be angry playing any of these games.
Even the C3I one,
huh? You just can't. If you're walking into it looking for Terrible Swift Sword, obviously you're going to be angry.
Right.
Like if you have a brain in your head and you can read the back of the damn box or BGG, so you have an idea of what you're walking into, there's no reason you should be mad playing any of these games.
I don't mind a small footprint game if you give me some good mechanics to make the game interesting.
And that's the thing. It's not going to be interesting for you because you know too damn much about Gettysburg and you're too damn invested in it. There's no point in you playing it.
Right.
Like, that's my point, is as long as you can read and look at a game, there's no reason that anyone shouldn't like these. Like, I can understand you just not playing C3I's Gettysburg. That makes sense. It does. Just like I'm not going to walk in and pick up Terrible Swift Sword or what's the GBACW? Most Fearful Sacrifice.
3 days of Gettysburg.
3 days of Gettysburg. I'm not going to pick one of those up and be like, this game's fucking unplayable. I hate it. This game's trash. No, it's not what I'm looking for. I'm able to read and see that, okay, that's obviously not what I'm looking for. So I'm not going to try and play it, get pissed off, and trash talk it.
Right.
You're going to have fun playing any of these 3.
Cool.
Plain and simple. If you play Across 5 Aprils or Blue and the Gray, you're going to have an automatic into other games you can also play. I enjoyed all these. I didn't give you a rating for Gettysburg.
12, right?
I think you're probably going to get a Jeff Bridges out of that.
Okay, here we go.
Not necessarily the 20th Maine, but you're certainly going to be calling people dude afterwards. No, you're going to have fun playing any of them. They each have their strengths and weaknesses. If there's certain mechanics that you like, go back and look at what I just said, were all the individual mechanics that were different about them, and find one that has a mechanic that you like in it. If there's certain mechanics that you hate, like chip draw, then don't play Across 5 Aprils.
Chip draw is the best invention. So it sounds to me like none of these 4 games, even though they were fairly smooth play from top to bottom, none of them had any identicality. They were not identical in any way, shape, or form.
No, not really. No. I think, again, I would put more of my comparison between these games, between the last 3 of them, and I think I had very different plays in each of them. Like I said, Blue and the Gray went all 3 days. It was a decisive Union victory. The only other Union victory I got was Across 5 Aprils. But like I said, that wasn't necessarily so much a decisive Union victory as a failed Confederate attack. Right. And then in Gettysburg 77, again, A.P. Hill and Ewell just smacked the living bejesus out of the first 3 or 4 Union Corps they came across. And then Longstreet came in, and it was just, okay, we're done.
Well, I'm always going to say there was always the one important thing that's missing from all Gettysburg games.
Dan Sickles' mustache. Look at that thing. Look at that thing.
Come on.
Cousin TJ.
Well, it's hard for him to be there given that he got himself shot by his own sentries, because of course he fucking did.
I don't know. I'm kind of in the, you're right. If I play a Gettysburg game, it better, to me, I'm going to be angry if it doesn't somewhat represent Gettysburg. I'm not opposed to so if you've ever watched it, though I'm sure some of you have, watch Callendale play Line of Battle. And in the morning of the second day, or towards the end of the second day or the middle of the second day, he's got the Confederates literally occupying the fish hook, and the Union is back over on the Confederate side. And I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And to me, a lot of people would look at that and say, this is a freaking joke. And I didn't. I never once thought that I thought it looked funny, but it was never a joke to me. I thought, what?
I can see kind of how you would get that if, at least to a certain extent, with the Confederacy coming in from the north, primarily the north, after an initial thrust. Well, I guess the northeast. But my point is, coming up the Emmitsburg Road, it's just as easy for the Union to cross over and be on Seminary Ridge. To a certain extent. Todd, you all right, buddy?
We're laughing at his comment about Callendale.
Who?
Callendale doesn't know how he did it. You got to go watch the video to understand.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out. We've all been there.
Well, Jeff and I had commentary on our recent OCS game. I think someone was doing that too, probably going, "What the blank are they doing?
Yeah.
How are they getting that? What?" But that was more because, my bad.
Again, when I played Stalingrad Pocket 2, I damn near crammed troops across the Don or across the Volga. If I would have been able to cross the Volga if it wasn't prevented by rules. But at the same time, it's just one of those, what is this? Because then I had the Soviets attacking back out of Stalingrad. Anyways, long story short, it happens. That's fun, but that's where we again get to, if we're wanting just brutal historical accuracy and results, then we need to just move counters around on the table while we talk to ourselves.
Right. I mean, I think when I play a Civil War game, I think what I want is, you're right. It's not necessarily the result or the positions I end up in or the objectives that are taken and not taken or whether they get flip flop. Well, I think what I want is that the fighting that I'm doing and the maneuvering I'm doing are representative of how things worked during the Civil War.
Yeah, you have a historical equality of opportunity, not necessarily outcome, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You're starting on the same historical footing, maybe, as the people that were on the ground, the commanders on the ground, while simultaneously accepting, because that is a basic premise of what we do, that the result can and very likely will be different. How different? Who knows? But again, I just want, all I wanted to do was find a game where I was able to swing Third Corps up Seminary Ridge.
Yeah, you're Dan the Man stuff. I know.
And I didn't find one. One.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so if I said right now, McMurray, you just played all 4 of those games. You need to play one more of them again right now. What's the one you're going to put on the table right now?
Go.
What am I going to play again?
If I said you had to play one of those 4 again right now, which one are you going to play?
Across 5 Aprils. The chit pull.
There you go, Steele.
Makes the replayability so high.
Is that our Steel Stone, or is that just another? Clay get a new name, or is that? Whose philosophy is that you've heard say before?
Again, give me the battlefield of troops and say go. Let me be the commander. Oh man, how?
That's my philosophy.
Is the map magnetized steel? That ought to tell us.
Yeah, there we go.
Woo! He's got a new YouTube name.
There it is. What's up, buddy?
He's probably got like 3 different names.
Clay, you got to just completely ignore the last hour and 15 minutes because it's all way too simple.
Give me the battlefield. Give me my troops. Tell me what my victory conditions are, and let me do it my way.
And
don't you dare tell me at 9:20 in the morning on July 1st you need to kill Reynolds. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's stupid. That is, however, the battlefield objectives do play into Gettysburg 77. So some of those victory points were from holding Culp's Hill and Cemetery Hill, right? Not a whole lot of them. I think only 15. I think Culp's Hill was 5 points. Cemetery Hill was 10 points. But that was kind of a cool little chunk out of there that they all have victory locations and hexes in them. Gettysburg 77, I think, was the only one that made that a victory condition on day 1.
Okay, I guess here's my question. So, of course, you're going on a DQ run. Many Warmuts leaving for a DQ run, of course.
Thanks, there you go. Pick me up something while you're out there.
Yeah, really, we could use something. So, I know World War II, well, sort of. I don't really know it either, but I just claim I do. But so like a bulge game, there's certain aspects that really show, it's the terrain is one. You got the woods, the limited road usage. There's confusion. There's troops that kind of really stand their ground and give the Germans a heck of a time and prevent, and I'm not talking about just airborne. I can't remember the unit, but up north. So there's some things there that are represented and you're like, okay, I'm playing a bulge game.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the things so when I think of Civil War, and the reason I like GCACW, the one game I played, but yet now I own all of them, is that there's that chaos of commanders because the commanders played a big role. They play a big role in everything, but especially in the Civil War, because everyone that knows Civil War knows all these names, which I think is a pretty fascinating thing.
And that's
Reed commanded this, but Reed was really kind of wishy-washy, but McMurray was, this commander, but he really charged. So I just curious,
part of
if they have P Ridge and Gettysburg, is there, oh yeah, this is a besides the map. I mean, the map is easy.
One of the things that I liked about the chit pull, right? Because not only is it a chit pull, it's not a traditional chip pull like you'd see in Panzer battles or something like that, where you pull it and then you do all of that formation's movement, or all of that formation's actions. The difference between the chip pull being a movement and then you have a random combat chit really, at least for me, does a lot to get that. These guys don't have. There's no radios. There's no like field telephones. Dude, if you're lucky, you might see a signal flag. Probably not, though. Odds are you're just waiting for some random dude to ride up on a horse and be like, General Reynolds says his regards. He's engaged. What the does that mean?
Well, perhaps what I'm thinking here is like some of the troops different. Like maybe a general was kind of a newbie in here, so he wasn't really a good commander. But later on, if you played him in a later battle, he was better. Any of these have that kind of thing, or I don't even. Maybe that's not even a relevant question.
You can probably find some.
Or is that reserved for more complicated games?
I mean,
the only way they can show it
see a
would be
commander
by a command rating.
I was about to say, I'm sure you can probably find that with units between Bull Run and Gettysburg for across 5 Aprils.
Well, a lot of people too don't we don't. When we set a game up, the first thing that does not come into our minds is that all these activities in a 20-minute or 1-hour game turn, they're all happening at the same time.
Correct.
So chip pull to me is, because while I had some games in my inventory that I hadn't played, I had them for a while. I didn't. I was going to say that. I didn't. I never
Charles
played
asked what was next.
Chip pull to me is the first easiest implementation of fog of war in wargaming to me.
Correct. And I like how Across 5 Aprils in a simple manner has managed to take that just a little bit further.
Right. Like the initiative roll in GCACW.
Mm-hmm.
4 turns in a row, I mean.
It does the chain of command dice thing very well, Todd, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Just in terms of getting that friction without being ridiculous about it.
Great movie, Walt. Very good movie.
But yeah, Charles, the next ACW things I think are going to be line of battle, blind swords, or if Warmut left. That's a great movie. You want to you're not. But you're right. The other one that might happen is I've got P Ridge from the Folio system coming from Decision, as well as the mini Folio Little Round Top. I'm going to be hitting miniatures hard for the next couple weeks. So P Ridge or Little Round Top might make a quick appearance, just as, hey, here's again, tossing an evening out, because that musket and saber system is pretty fun.
Well, those two, no.
No, I haven't played Civil War Victory games. I almost bought a copy of it, but then I didn't. I actually, and I know this is another one that I'm going to catch a bunch of shit for. For a full view of the war, I have a good time playing House Divided. I know, Jeff, don't.
No, it's all right. It's all right. No, because it's eventually going to make me get For the People out and play it. So,
I mean, you got a copy of A House Divided.
If you like a game, you like a game.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I don't like Chain of Command, but I still play you.
You said that was the worst of your gaming experiences last year. But
I didn't know Avalanche Press made a Gettysburg game.
And that's the thing, right? These are the 4 that I played. They're the 4 that I have here. They're the 4 that I
played them well. You were your commentary was very good about them.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
go watch those videos, everybody, so you can kind of see, because I know you got some new viewers on here.
They're all short. I tried to keep them all to the point where I never record more than right at 2 minutes at a time.
Yep.
So
you got them all landscaped. I didn't have to
I got them all landscaped. They're all oriented the same. I didn't have excessive finger movement in front of the camera. I
have that one, Ulan. Oh yeah, I didn't get to watch all of Ardwu's show tonight, and I'm wondering what games I missed, because I had 2 or 3 of them in here that I know he never even brought up. So
I think there's probably a folio series game for Gettysburg that uses that musket and saber system, the full system. That's probably a pretty approachably
The little round
equivalent
top
game.
one.
Yeah,
That's the mini, and it's the quick play, which I'm looking forward to playing. That's
Right.
going to be a fun game to play. So that uses the same like rule set period.
That one that
as Wilson's
LBW is
Creek.
playing right now, that Devil's Den one. I didn't realize how good looking a game that was.
is
I
that
wanna
line
try
of
that.
battle?
Huh?
No, that's not line of battle. It's the Brigade series, right?
No, this one I've never seen this. I had never seen this game. It was an Avalon. I think it was an old Avalon Hill game.
For Devil's Den.
Yeah, but it's not like the. I sent you a little one, right? It was called Little Round Top, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but this one's like a bigger one, a much bigger.
I don't know that Little Round Top's actually that small of a game. I think it's just kind of a complicated game that you have a small chunk of. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the rule book there's still a good amount of rules there. The issue is the rule book that you sent me is like, I don't know how it originally folded up. It looks like somebody made copies of like parts, and then they got the backs and the fronts mixed up.
Oh, jeez.
I bought
So
those
like
in Zen board.
I want to play that game really bad because I enjoy Little Round Top, but Jesus Christ, those rules are absolutely unreadable. And I found a copy online. I need to print it out, but those rules are fucking rough in that box.
What system, Ulan? Well, I mean, Gettysburg games are like Bulge games. We could sit here all night just listing all the different
Oh
versions.
yeah.
So, I mean,
Correct.
it's ridiculous. So, but it's
And
cool.
we still miss a bunch of them.
Seems like you found a nice, like, besides C3I, a nice range of games. There's probably more that are kind of that complexity level that really fit your deal there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you're not going to get Terrible Swiss Sword 3
thanks,
days
Dave.
at Gettysburg.
There's another
Most
game you
beautiful
can play,
sacrifice.
Andrew. There's another game that you have that you can play.
What's that?
AH Bull Run.
Do I have that? You just sent me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just sent me that. That game.
The next Hex encounter I want to see on your table, because I'm not going to sit around and wait much longer for you to play, is
Mark,
Blind
shoot it.
Swords. Because I got a feeling this is going to take you down a whole new road. He's
All
going to
right.
have bookshelves like me before long after he plays that
All
game.
right, let's. So when we get off here, you're going to set that up and start playing.
Bro, I gotta do. I'm painting. I'm doing miniatures for a couple weeks. I
We
haven't
got
touched them for
Brian to play a Hex encounter game.
a month and a half, and I'm
We're
going
moving
to
you
play
up to intermediate.
Saratoga with Brian, and then I'm hoping. I thought he was going to get Little Round Top. I don't know why he didn't, but that's fine. Yeah, Little
well,
Round
that's
Top's going to be fun.
Interesting question. A little bigger scope. What Civil War system you still can't get your head around?
Well, okay, so
You asking me, Clay, or these guys?
if I had to pick one of the
Right,
Gettysburg
anybody.
teams, the toughest one. So a lot of people thought that the Army of the Heartland, the rules from Clash of Arms, the 3 games in that series was tough, and I think they're full of shit because I think the rules are laid out fine. They just don't look real pretty. The one that I think, if you want to play a Gettysburg game that'll bend your brain, play Summer Storm. You don't hear a lot of people. Heathwell, remember Heathwell? I haven't seen him around much.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen him in a while.
He saw me play Summer Storm when I first started doing this, and he went and got it. And he started to set it up and play it. And Heathwell, he's pretty deep into this stuff. He dropped it because it was a lot. In this game, in Summer Storm, you have the ability to play the maneuver campaign to get to Gettysburg, or you can just play Gettysburg. And that game has a lot of the depth in that game. And it's Rick Barber's game. Rick Barber made the entire game with his maps like you see in the ones McMurray's holding in his hand right there. But that game is entirely his. And
So,
it
Jeff,
is a deep game.
how much more time do you have tonight, Jeff? You aren't working tomorrow,
Now I'm going to play golf at 10, so
so lots of time.
That's late.
Means you're going to wake up at 9. Means you don't have to.
now I'll
sleep
wake up
till
about 8:30.
probably 3.
regardless.
So we're going to play the Little Round Top scenario on this tonight. Because you're going to walk me through Blind Swords.
I mean, Jeff, you were pushing him.
See, what are you gonna say? No, McMurray, I'm not gonna play Blind Swords with you. Yeah.
Yes, I played that. Ulan, I got a video. I shot where I played that game. That game came to me from Rich Champion, as a matter of fact. And he sent me I got the Chattanooga one too, which I was bitching about no games on Chattanooga.
One of the other things that I know we talked about a little bit, or ad nauseum, depending on your perspective, is I still want to take and mess with, and Jeff and I were talking about this immediately before starting this, that Bloody Mohawk, War of 1812, and French and Indian War system that Bill Molyneux created. And I really still want to just, because it's simple. It's simple in a different way from C3I and the introductory Gettysburg game, but it's simple. It's that much there's not a lot of head crunching, which is kind of nice sometimes. Sometimes you just want to sit down and just play something fun. I really want to take some of these smaller actions, and I think what I was telling Jeff about was railroad cut.
Right.
Maybe the tip of the angle, 20th Maine. You could focus on just the 20th Maine. You could focus on just whatever the 2nd Wisconsin or whatever or Minnesota that got sent into the gap between Cemetery Ridge and Sickles' right flank.
82% casualties.
Exactly. Stuff like that. That sort of stuff would lend itself nicely to that Bloody Mohawk, that system, for lack of a better term.
When you play the blind swords, now we've watched you play games for 3
tonight.
When we play games for 3 years, you mark my words, you will not play this game with the same ferocity that you play these other games.
Why? Why not?
Guarantee you won't.
Why not?
Ooh, guaranteed. Clay, I guess there's not that many people that have systems that they're having a hard time wrapping their head around. I'd say everyone for me, but I don't play enough games. So.
Clay, I was about to say,
you bought
intentionally avoid.
You bought a copy of Army of the Heartland, didn't you? Because you were asking me about it.
Me?
What were you saying, McMurray? He was talking to Clay.
Oh no, my point is, I very intentionally avoid things that might just. It's not often that I take the gamble of, well, this might be a little too mustardy for me.
I think blind swords might be the most complicated one.
Well, that's my point. Is that's kind of the first time that I've ever really just jumped right over that hurdle, and unfortunately for me,
it's just that high.
I know. Fortunately for me, this idiot over here next to me, that side on the screens. This moron is about to walk me through it like a child. So, I mean, it. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. It might be. Hopefully, it's not.
Fateful Lightning is a good game, Ulan. It really is. Yeah, I know I can feel it without you even playing. I know. This is going to be a different thing for you. This is not going to be like any Hex Encounter game McMurray's ever played.
Man, you're making you're really selling this high, bro.
You're sure?
It's a great.
I don't know if he's selling it high or if he's making.
And then when he's done, you're going to see how happy he is with it, Todd. That you're going to want to go get it and play it.
My lease ran out a long time ago.
But you never played it.
You had this game?
I didn't have that one. I had what's the kind of intro? Not intro one.
You had blind Stonewall Sword.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it was a little smaller battle and stuff.
Again, we're starting with the smallest because there is. I was reading more. The not the Devil's Den. The Little Round Top scenario in here is a introduction.
Yeah, that's how I started. That's
to the system. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clay, my Civil War system I struggle with is pretty much any game.
But you like GCACW.
Well, yeah, I did that one time.
And there, you will again.
And I will again.
Soon.
But there's a lot there I don't understand.
Claystone, you need to put all that shit down that you got on tables that you're playing. What? And you need to set up Army of the Heartland and play it. You bought the damn thing. You asked me about it because you like Crunch. That game is perfect Crunch.
Jeff is still just bitter that you're playing Hurricane successfully.
To the world of guys that I know that play big games, not Clay because I haven't tried it yet, but people that all the comments that I saw about that game, and I played 2 of them, and I didn't struggle one little bit with them. So,
Clay's got to be no problem.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
You just remember that when you're tracking ammo on Gettysburg 77 Advanced.
Oh God! I'm talking myself out of that one quickly. But
I
now
know.
that I saw Ulan's regimental counters with individual batteries,
Mhm.
if I could make those up, that might change that a little bit.
But
You know what? I'm just sitting here thinking too. Wonder if I could take the terrible swift sword counters because they have strengths on them and play the advanced system just using those counters.
are you about to do what we were joking about me doing with our Den 44 and just playing it with the SCS rules using like 3 values that are on the counter? Just to piss people off. I'm not saying that's a terrible idea, but that's a dick move. I love it, but that's a dick.
That's when you don't go live. You just shoot video and save.
Yeah, you just shoot after turn. Yeah,
Oh my God.
maybe that's what I'll wind up doing with.
I'm not gonna lie. I did have one game that I played, okay, that it was starting to just get under my skin and I wanted it done, but I knew I needed to finish it. So I kind of moved the counters around. like the last 2 turns. Because I didn't want to finish it, and I moved the counters around, and then I saw the video.
Dog, the one time that I had counters move outside of me playing a game was when we played Ardennes a couple years ago, and I sneezed, and like everybody cleared out of Bastogne, and I was so sad I almost cried, and then I just never talked about it until you're like, dude, what the fuck happened? And I had to explain it to you all shamefully as shit.
Hey, didn't you I know you sent me the 7 days. Did you get the Shiloh in the Antietam game?
I have Antietam. I don't have Shiloh.
Okay, that's another good one.
Because you were gonna send me Shiloh.
Yeah, I didn't send that already.
No.
Yeah, Chuck's saying I need to try that one, so I'm assuming
The Worthington one.
Okay.
Yeah. And do you know the Summer Storm that Steele's talking about?
Yeah, that's the Rick Barber game I was talking about a minute ago.
Okay, I got it.
That's the one I'm saying. That's the one Civil War game that I had a hard time wrapping my head around the rules.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that they were bad; they were just deep, real deep.
So deep.
Okay.
Sometimes you just get rules that, even though they might not be that complicated, just for whatever reason, it doesn't click.
Something doesn't make sense, and it just throws the whole system off.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, I know that you hate the fact that I haven't played Men of Iron yet, but for whatever reason, reading those rules just kills me, man.
You
I
might
don't
as
know
well
what it
just
is.
send that
I just
fucking
can't
box
stand
to
it.
me so I can give it to somebody who will use it.
Huh?
You might as well just send that damn thing to me so I can give it to somebody who will use it.
I should give it to that guy who convinced me that it was a good purchase.
Oh, it was him?
Yeah.
Really?
Back in the day, because
You
he's
took
not
advice
wrong.
from a guy that won't even touch that era of the world.
No. In the wardrobe's defense, he's right that it shouldn't be too crunchy. It's just something with how the rules are written that they just bug me.
Right.
Great Medieval Battles from, what was it, SPI? The quad?
Yeah, the
bookshelf game? Phenomenal. Love it. Again, unfortunately, like across 5 Aprils, it's a fantastic example of a great old game series that will never see the light of day again. And I love that I discovered 20 years too late, 40 years too late. But yeah, 30 years too late.
Okay. Yeah, you can give me Men of Iron. I'll use it for kindling in the solo stove.
No.
That'd be the quickest lease ever. I've seen hotel rooms with longer leases than that have at your house. But no. Again, it's just one of those, I don't know, for whatever reason, reading the rules just...
I don't know how many games I have double copies of that came off Todd's lease program.
I was about to say, I know that I hit something ridiculous because I now have 2 copies, soon to be 3 copies of Blue and Gray.
Which you're going to send me one gladly.
I know. And then I have 2 copies of A House Divided. Which made sense because the second copy I think I got for like $15 or something. And that is by all means a game that is digestible enough. It's right on that.
Chris?
Maybe. I don't know. But it's right on that same level as some of these.
Right.
Where There's nothing overly complicated in it, and it's absolutely a great way to get somebody into crunchier. I can't say it's Hex Encounter because it's point to point, but crunchier historical board gaming.
Well, we've always said that this trio right here is perfect because you got the easy flow player, you've got the intermediate player, and then you've got the guy that likes the crunchy stuff. So it makes it, we hit all three aspects. And I'd be willing to say that any one of the three of us could transfer into playing games that one of the other ones likes because the other one would be able to show that one how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
That or Chatty and I will play them together. Maybe that's it. You should get like Long Street Attacks, and we'll play some of these small scenarios together like we did some of the day scenarios.
I'll just come over to your house.
There's already a game that we're supposed to be playing together set up over here.
It's not getting destroyed by this humidity, is it?
Oh,
you told me to not worry about that.
I asked him about that earlier today.
I know, because I've also asked you about that, and you're like, "Oh, don't worry about it; it'll be fine."
If he probably hasn't walked out and looked at the sides, are probably curled up, all the counters have peeled off.
I specifically asked you about that.
Guess I better order another copy.
Many times. You're fucking with me. Never mind. He's smiling. Look at him. He's just messing with me. You're a dick.
All you wonderful folks out there, man. I'm telling you what, we're sitting at 18 viewers right now, but we kept 19 was low as we got. It kept going back up to 20, 22, 23, 24. So good stuff. I appreciate
you guys hopping in.
I knew, and I think we all talked about it, we knew this was going to be a decent show tonight, and I think it really was because I think we talked a lot of good Gettysburg stuff. Got a lot of great input from all of y'all out there. Definitely appreciate that. I need to fulfill my commitment to old Ulan, Jerry Todd there. I need to play. I think I'm going to have to do it on Vassal, but I need to play one of those because I'm like I say, messing around with the one that he redid. It was fun. The system, it's fun. It's not strenuous. It's got some historicity to it or historicalness to it. So I need to give it another shot again. Clay, play the freaking Army of the Heartland. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Andrew's going to go down the Blind Swords Road and never turn back. He'll be selling all his miniatures by week's end. All right, and then we'll get Todd going down that road too, and all the rest.
Selling all his miniatures road.
It's 18 minutes till July 4th. All the rednecks down here have gone to sleep, apparently, because there's nothing going on. I don't hear any fireworks. They were earlier. But all y'all have a great holiday tomorrow. And look us up for some more stuff. Appreciate it. Hey, make sure y'all hit that like button down there. Give us the clickies on the thumbs up thingy down there. And if you know somebody that's interested in stuff that doesn't know about us, me, Todd, you can catch Andrew on either one of our channels. Tell them, man, get them over, subscribe to us, and so they can catch up to some of the stuff. Because I think we kick it around pretty good when the three of us get together and we're talking about specific games and just stuff in general. So, all right, we're going to kill this. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to y'all later. Have a great July 4th.
See ya. Bye, guys. Thanks for stopping by.